Hello, one and all, and welcome to the Mailbox Rogues Gallery podcast, the fortnightly podcast where we pluck out a figure from history and plonk him in our metaphorical mailbox of rogues. My name's Burch.
My name's Sean, and this week we're going to discuss a hero of mine and of yours and of many people's.
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Lee.
Mr. Bruce Lee, or Lee Jun Fan.
No, not Lee Jun Fan, Bruce Lee. We're not doing two people in this episode.
No. Sean, that's his Chinese name.
Ah, he was Chinese, was he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to learn a lot in this episode. Okay, well, I mean, in honour of Bruce Lee, we are, of course, recording this episode in a dojo.
Very nice dojo.
It's a lovely dojo, actually, yeah. And I've got a bit of a surprise for you, which I'm going to bring up a little bit later in the episode about the dojo, but we'll come back to that.
I look forward to hearing it.
But let's start with talking about the man himself, Mr. Bruce Lee. So you say he's Chinese?
Yeah, from the information that I was gathering for this episode, what I gleaned from it is that he was Chinese.
Right, okay. So I know a few things about him. He was born in 1940, the year of the dragon.
That's right, and also the hour of the dragon, apparently.
The hour of the dragon? The dragon has an hour, does he?
The year and the hour.
Is that like the witching hour we have? They've got a dragon hour?
They've got a dragoning hour, that's right.
A dragoning hour between midnight and 1 in the morning.
Yeah, they keep dragging it out.
Oh, okay, yeah. You say he's Chinese, but was he not born in San Francisco?
Yes, well, he has some interesting heritage, actually, when you look at it. I think his grandfather was German, and he was born in San Francisco. So he has roots all across the globe, it seems.
Apart from China? Oh, but his parents were Chinese?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay, this is falling into place. Okay, I'm starting to get this. Yeah, so it was his mum was accompanying his father when he was doing an opera. I don't know why I say it like that. An opera. An operetta. He was doing an operetta.
Yeah, he was doing those up and down the country in like these working men's Chinese clubs. Chinese people, you know, after a hard day mining, coal mining and whatever they mine.
Yeah.
They're just kind of there with a pint, and then he come out...
Pint of bitter. Down the old working Chinese man's opera club.
That's right, yeah, exactly.
And that's what he was doing in San Francisco when his wife gave birth to young Mr... What was he called?
Bruce Lee.
No, I know that, but what was his Chinese name?
Lee Jun Fan.
Lee Jun Fan.
Which...
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm a fan of Lee Jun Fan.
Oh, and it translates as return again, because...
Where's he been? He's only just been born.
Yeah, I know. A bit presumptuous of his mother, I think.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what does it mean? Where's he been if he's only just been born?
Well, I think her thinking was that she'd like for him to go back to San Francisco at some point during his life. I think that was her thinking. Which, you know, he's barely been born a day, and she's imposing all these rules on him. It's like, you should go back here. It's just like, maybe I don't want to... Little baby Bruce Lee's like, maybe I don't want to come back.
Are you sure it doesn't mean return to China, where they're from, rather than San Francisco?
No, because
they knew they're on holiday, basically.
Yeah, they knew that they were going back to China. It'd be a bit of a short-lived name. It's a bit like getting like a Rick and Morty tattoo. It's just like... a few years' time, it's going to have died down, the popularity of that show, so it's not going to have longevity. So by having a name like that, it just wouldn't hold up.
I see what you mean. If your purpose in life is return to China, and by the end of the holiday on which you were born, you have returned to China.
Exactly.
Well, you've fulfilled your whole life pretty quickly.
So that baby at the age of 2 weeks old, his existence is pointless.
He's peaked. He's plateaued.
Exactly.
He's hit his high. Well, back in China, where he did return to, he studied martial arts from the age of about 13, and then age 17 he returned again to San Francisco.
The prophecy is complete.
Exactly, yeah. So at that point he peaked in his life, age 17, and that was basically because if he'd moved back any later than that, he would have lost his American citizenship, I think. I
was reading as well, apparently he got into quite a few scraps when he was younger.
He liked to tussle, did he?
He did like to tussle. One tussle in particular, apparently, was with the son of a notorious Chinese triad.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently a police officer came round and said, right, he's been fighting again with a triad this time. And, you know what those triads are like.
I know, in particular.
Yeah, exactly. We all know what they're like.
And his mum and dad, they come to the door and they go, oh, I've triad everything, I have.
Exactly. And Yeah, so I'm sure that was maybe one of the factors in him going to America, to escape the triads.
That's good enough reason to come to America, if you ask me.
Hmm.
Well, age 20, he set up a martial arts school. Now, if you were going to set up a school, what sort of school would you set up? Would it be martial arts, or you'd go for something a bit different?
I would, not martial arts, I'd probably set up a school for marital arts.
Well, I don't know what that means.
The art of marriage. I guess you could call it a registry office.
Okay, I thought you were going to say like a marriage counsellor, but no, you're just going to marry people.
Or that, no, I could have it all under one roof. Maybe, like one of the floors, we actually get them married. They go up a floor, have a bit of counselling before they get out into the world. Maybe on the top floor I could do some divorces.
Right, okay, just in case the other two business models don't work out.
No, exactly, yeah, you've got to have a fallback plan.
Yeah, okay, I like this tri-pronged attack you're going for. So, to be a marriage counsellor, you've got to have a lot of expertise. Now, I think you're quite qualified for that. You've actually been married 7 times, haven't you?
Yep, 7 beautiful marriages to 7 average women.
Well, things about your situation, though, is that you never had any counselling because all of the women you married were quite elderly when you married, weren't they? They were, most of them in their 90s, if I recall.
They were a few years older than me, yes.
Yeah, and because you didn't really exactly have marital problems so much as each of them did die quite quickly after you married them, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, that was the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not something you'd go to a marriage counsellor about, more like a mortician.
Well, I mean, we did, me and Dolores, the second wife, we did go to a counsellor, like, for that very reason. I was just like, it doesn't seem to be working out. And he said, well, what seems to be the problem? And I said, Doctor, she's on fucking death's door.
I can see how that would cause a strain on your marriage.
And he couldn't do a single thing about it. Like, they say these marriage counsellors, like, help strengthen a marriage, but he couldn't do anything to prolong her life.
Okay, so this is the sort of thing you'll be looking to address.
Yeah, exactly.
I just have to wonder if the vast sums of money that you've inherited from each of these women who have died once you've been written into their wills, whether any of that vast sum is what you're sinking into this business you're setting up, this marriage counselling school.
Well, I mean, you know me, Sean, I wouldn't wish death on anyone. But it's a comfort to know that this money will be put to good use, and I'm sure Dolores and the other 6 would be happy to know that I'd be using this money to strengthen other people's relationships.
And when you say the other 6, I mean, you obviously remember all their names.
Yeah.
Just care to remind me? Obviously, I was best man at all of those weddings, but...
Yeah, well, you got Dolores.
You mentioned her, yeah.
I think one of them was called Gran. I know there was a few of them that would call her Gran. I think there were a couple called Gran, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a nickname that their grandchildren gave them.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, I remember your first wife was Agnes.
Agnes, of course, yeah, beautiful Agnes.
Then there was Dolores.
Dolores.
Where was Gertie? Was she 4 or 5?
Gertie with the one tooth. She was probably 4th.
She was the 4th, so we'd got... And before her... What was her name before her? She was the one... She had that wonderful cackle.
Oh, yeah, a beautiful cackle that would terrify the children of the street.
Now, was that Ethel or Edna?
That was Ethna.
That was... Oh, Ethna, yeah. Because she was actually... So she was your 3rd, and then she was sister to your 5th, also called Dolores.
Yeah, well, it was her dying wish for me to marry her sister. I was a bit taken aback, but, she typed it out there on her deathbed and signed it for me to marry her sister. I know her signature looks a bit different to how a lot of people remembered it, but you have to remember, I mean, she was on death's door at this point, and it was her last wish, and she was in the throes of death, but, it's what she wanted.
And so, yeah, you married Dolores, and that was your 5th, and then after that was, I think then it was Bernadette and Bernardito.
Bernadette and Bernardito, that's right.
So, yeah, that's it, all 7 of them. Well, I mean, I certainly wouldn't argue that the sheer number of marriages you've had would make you an expert, and I think that, setting up a marriage counselling school is probably going to really, you can give back to the world.
Exactly.
You've gotten a lot financially, and you can give back to the world spiritually.
It's what those 7 that you just mentioned would have wanted.
Yeah.
That I loved dearly.
So I think we should probably get back to Bruce Lee pretty quick, but just a side note, is there anybody that you're courting at the moment?
Well, I don't want to kiss and tell, Sean, but
Ho, ho, ho.
I might have met a foxy young thing the other day down at the local bingo hall.
Oh, okay. Well, say no more.
Edwina.
Oh, that's a lovely name.
She's an heiress, don't you know?
Oh, is she? Wow, that's quite a coincidence. Just like the last 7.
Yeah. It's maybe I have a type. I don't know.
Some people do.
Exactly.
Right, let's get back to Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Where we last talked about him, he was age 20. He just set up his martial arts school. Do you know what he did next when he was 22?
Go on.
He got circumcised.
Well, it's the logical next step, isn't it, after owning a martial arts school?
Moved to America, set a martial arts school, get circumcised.
It's just living the American dream.
Absolutely. Well, it was his father's wishes that he get circumcised.
Really?
Yeah, I've no idea why his father would want that
22.
of him.
What kind of phone conversation would that be? It's just like, so, you liking it in America? Oh yes, it's great. Cheers, Dad. Yeah, how's the martial arts school going? Oh yes, it's going good. Yes, it's doing pretty well, thanks. Still got your foreskin?
What?
What? Beg your pardon? How odd. Well, he respects his parents. Obviously.
Well, it's very important in a lot of Asian cultures, and I think that's probably the same for Chinese culture. Respect your elders.
Even if they want you to cut off a bit of your knob.
Fair play. Has your dad ever asked you to do anything like that?
What, cut off a bit of my knob?
Yeah, something along those lines.
He's never asked me to do anything with my knob.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear that. Let's get back to Bruce Lee.
Okay.
He was the first kung fu instructor to teach all races, not just Chinese people.
Oh, that's nice.
And actually, a lot of kung fu zealots were quite unhappy that he was teaching white people how to do sacred martial art.
Well, that kind of goes back to when he was learning martial arts in China, because they didn't like the fact that he had partly Western heritage.
Well, yeah, like you say, it was a German grandfather on his mother's side, so because he wasn't genealogically wise, he wasn't completely Chinese, so some people had a bit of a problem with that. Tried to get him kicked out of the dojo.
And of course, after running the dojo and getting his foreskin removed, he then moved on to really great things. He moved back to Hong Kong and did some films. And then he also made one of my favourites, Enter the Dragon, great film. But sadly, just a very short amount of time before the film's release, he died.
Age 32. He's a young man. He died after taking a painkiller and having a lie down, which is something I do all the time. Got me quite worried.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I don't take any medication anymore after hearing about that.
Really? Nothing at all?
I don't even take advice from doctors anymore.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, you've stopped taking... Because you were on a lot of medication before. You've stopped taking all of that?
That's all I was on. I didn't eat anything unless I had a tablet stuffed in it.
Right, okay. So with Bruce Lee, though, it was quite a sudden death. No one was expecting it.
No one.
About to explode into mainstream cinema. Presumably, everybody thought he was at the height of his martial arts powers. Obviously very fit.
Yeah.
So to just die suddenly, age 32, a lot of people really had a bit of a problem with the explanation that he'd just taken some painkillers and had to lie down. A lot of people kind of dreamt up all sorts of conspiracies about it.
There are quite a number of conspiracies surrounding how he died. One of which that I found very strange was that the medication that he took was actually an aphrodisiac.
Right,
that
okay.
Sent him into, I guess, a horny rage.
A sexual frenzy.
Yeah, that's right. And he went to a prostitute.
Right, and then what happened?
And then he got in a fight with a prostitute.
And then, presumably what, she killed him in self-defence?
Yeah, something like that.
Right, that's a bit of a zany
That is quite
conspiracy.
A madcap conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any credence to that, because also, he was quite a powerful fighter. I'm not sure anybody could kill him, even if it was in self-defence.
Exactly. I mean, if that was true, you'd be kind of like talking all around town like that. It's just like, oh, you know that Bruce Lee? He's not so tough.
Yeah.
I beat him in a fight.
I killed him.
I took him out. So, yeah, I think we can cross that one off the list as being bollocks.
Yeah, another conspiracy was that some of these kung fu zealots who didn't like the fact that he was showing off this Chinese heritage, this martial art, this sacred art to the Western culture, the idea is that they took this very seriously and might have done him in to just shut him up, to stop him doing it.
Well, I mean, back then, everybody was kung fu fighting.
So the song goes.
I mean, like, those cats were fast as lightning, and I could see that. Like, you wouldn't be able to see them coming.
I think that conspiracy, possibly a bit more likely. They could have, all these kung fu people could have ganged up on him.
Would have been like that scene in Kill Bill, almost.
And they have a great conspiracy about Bruce Lee's death. Murdered by the triads because he wouldn't join them.
Yes.
Imagine having him at the end of a leash.
I mean, they could rule the world.
Exactly,
The triads.
yeah. He could get past any bodyguard, kill any major world president.
And going back to when he was younger, and he fought the son of a notorious triad, then he went to America. I mean, what could have set off that with the triads wanting him is that the now older triad leader has his son, and he goes into Bruce Lee's trailer when he's at one of his films, and the old triad goes, "Oh, where is he? Which one is he?" And he goes, "That's him. That's the man." And then he goes over, it's just like, "You beat up my son."
Grabs him by the ear.
Yeah. "Did you have a fight with my son about 15, 20 years ago?" He was like, "Oh yeah, probably." And it's just like,
I fought a lot of people.
Yeah. I was like, "That's just what I did back then and now." And then he goes, "Oh, you're gonna come work for me now." Because they're famously a branch of the Italian mafia, the
triads, yeah.
"You're going to come work for me now in the Chinese-Italian triads." And he was like, "No."
Don't want to. I'm a film star. Or about to be.
It's like, "You have not made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. You've made me an offer that I could refuse, but not one that I couldn't refuse."
Yeah.
He's like,
He's spoken double negatives a lot. It's actually a cultural Chinese thing.
That's right. And he's like, "You rule the day that you offend the triads."
Oh, he said, you won't rule the day you didn't offend the triads.
Oh, yeah. And Bruce was like, "What?" And then they just walked out. And he's like, "Oh, fair enough." And, you know, if he created that kind of tension there with the Italian-Chinese triads, then they could very well be behind his death as well.
Okay, well, that's probably the most plausible one. Apart from the final and most interesting conspiracy, which is, of course, about the family curse.
Yes.
Now, this is nuts, isn't it? I mean...
It is bizarre. It is very weird. Has credence.
Yeah, well, would you like to just explain to our audience what happened to his son, Brandon Lee?
Well, his son, Brandon Lee, and I will actually preface this by saying that in the biopic about Bruce Lee, there's quite a metaphorical thing about him fighting his demons.
Oh, yeah.
And he's actually fighting an actual demon. And after fighting him in the film, the demon then walks over to his son, Brandon, who is like a baby at this point. And some people think of that as kind of predicting what happens to Brandon Lee. So basically, Brandon Lee is a film star and a martial artist in his own right.
Was a film star.
Yes. On the set of The Crow, he was going to be doing a scene which involved a gun, assuming that there was a gun with fake prop bullets in it. But sadly, the gun did not have prop bullets. It had, in fact, real bullets.
And ended up getting shot live on set in front of a camera.
That's right. And aged 32, the same as his father.
Is that right? No, I did not know that.
That is true.
Ah, how interesting. And if you read about it, the contrivances and twists and turns and coincidences that it took to get real bullets into that gun are quite bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I believe that it was a family curse.
No.
But fate really had to jump through some hoops to get those bullets in that gun. Still, they're fighting in heaven now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not each other.
Yeah, well, it's sparring. You know, they're doing it, they're play fighting with each other in heaven.
Yeah, I guess. And, you know, he always said that he wanted to fight Muhammad Ali when he was alive.
Something that I say all the time as well.
Yeah. I like particularly the last few years of Muhammad Ali's life, because I think I probably have quite a good chance then. Maybe not when he was in his prime. He'd have kicked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But, you know, when he's a bit older and a bit doddery, I kind of think... I look at him on the TV and just think, you know, I could probably take him.
Yeah, I think maybe you could. Well, certainly the two of us could.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a shame he's dead. We'll never find out.
Yeah.
What other old people could we fight?
Oh, there's just so many. Maybe we should save that for a bonus episode. We'll do like a bonus episode. People would like to fight. Old people would like to fight.
Yeah, we'll bring them here to this dojo. You know, the right environment for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, we'll just like start fighting them. I mean, I don't want to pick on someone who you'd necessarily think, Oh yeah, well, what are you doing that for? That's cruel. Someone like Muhammad Ali, who was like a trained athlete in their time, and then got old. Someone like that, so it doesn't seem like we're just beating up old people.
I mean, it would essentially still be that, but it wouldn't seem so much like that.
No, but I'd sleep better at night.
Okay, let's pause the podcast and we can start working on a list of old people we'd like to fight.
Good idea.
Right, now, Burch, I mentioned at the start of the episode I had a bit of a surprise for you about the dojo.
Yeah?
Now, look around. I mean, it's a lovely dojo, isn't it?
Well, we've already established it is a beautiful dojo.
It is. And how big would you say this is? I mean, what's this, about 500 square feet of dojo?
Oh, it's got to be, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Well, the surprise is that this is my dojo.
What?
I was so inspired by my research on Bruce Lee that I've decided to become a martial arts expert, and I have bought this dojo.
That is incredible. This is a beautiful bit of real estate you've got here, Sean.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it into a business. I'm going to turn it into a lifestyle for myself. I'm really going to knuckle down and become a martial arts expert and kick the world's ass. That's actually the slogan I've got above the door.
Oh, that's kick the world's ass.
Yeah.
I like that. So, I presume you've taken some like martial arts training before going all in and buying the dojo.
No, not really. I just thought I'd learn on the job.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
I've had a few fights, but I've not really... No, I've read a few books, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I say books, audiobooks. I've read a few audiobooks about martial arts, but other than that, no, it's all going to be a learn on the job kind of thing for me.
Right. Okay. So how is this going to be a job then? What's going to be how are you going to make your money from it?
Well, people come to me and pay me money to teach them how to be a martial artist.
Yeah, but the issue is you don't know martial arts yet. If you're learning on the job and people are coming to learn from you, do you see what I'm getting at?
No, not really. No, I think it will work out just fine. I mean, should I tell you about the training that I've had so far?
Yeah, go on.
So I've been eating nothing but raw eggs because I watched Rocky and he seems to do that. Mm-hmm. He's not a martial artist per se,
no,
but I think he's got the soul of a fighter.
Yeah.
Like I do. So nothing but raw eggs, punching a lot of meat.
Oh yeah.
Like Rocky.
I noticed that actually just before we set up here. You were in the dojo canteen and you were furiously punching beef burgers.
Well, that's it. I punched one right out of your hand, didn't I?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you were punching the raw ones, and I was stood there making like myself a burger before we started. I was about to take a bite into it, and you punched it.
You punched it right out of your hand.
Right out of my hand. I was very annoyed.
Sorry about that. So yeah, punching a lot of meat, lots of squats I've been doing. I mainly do them because I'm such a busy guy. I mainly do them when I'm in bed, like when I wake up in the morning or before bed. So I just kind of like lie there on my back, and that's how I just wiggle my legs around. And that's how I do those squats. And sometimes if I get really annoyed, I'll just start punching my pillow.
Oh yeah, okay. And that's the training that you've had so far?
That's most of the training I've had so far, yeah.
Right. I mean, you have got quite an aggressive streak. How much of this were you doing before you'd actually bought the dojo? Because I've seen you punch beef burgers before.
Yeah. Really, the only thing that's new, I guess, would be the eggs.
Right.
And there was one. I have done a bit of other training. It was a bit of a mix-up, though. Obviously, I wanted to learn martial arts. I might have accidentally just spent 4 years doing a fine art degree at the University of Warwick.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I confused martial arts with fine arts.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see how you can confuse it with the arts part, but, I mean, like, the course that you took, surely you saw the differences?
It took me, I'm a bit embarrassed to say it took me quite a while to figure out. I was 2 years into the course before I realised that I was on the wrong one. By that point, I'd sunk £60,000 into it in student loans alone. I mean, that just paid for the course, let alone moving to Warwick and living there for years. So I thought, I've invested so much, I'm just going to have to stick with this. And I saw it through. And I'm a better man for it. I'm not a better martial artist for it, though.
No. But, I mean, I noticed that the logo that you've got for the dojo is particularly great.
Exactly. I mean, kick the world's ass, that's the slogan. And beautiful logo there of just this, from outside of the frame, as it were, you've got this lovely foot swinging up into the arse of the world. And
tell you what, because you're going to want to impress people by having your degree up on the wall. If you put the word martial just in between the fine and the arts on your degree, just like it kind
scribble it on.
Just scribble it on. I don't think anyone would take a blind bit of notice. And it's like, Wow, a fine martial arts degree. That's incredible.
That's the equivalent of a black belt, basically.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Well, see, I can't fail.
No, exactly. Yeah, sign me up.
Okay, my first customer. Perfect. Okay. You'll be punching beef burgers in no time.
Oh, yes, can't wait.
Shall I tell you about some of the opponents I've had so far?
Yeah, go on.
So I started and finished, I might say, a particularly good fight last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So I was walking through the city centre. I went past this bingo hall, and there was this particularly nasty little woman outside who she was just like, I think she was trying to get a taxi or something, and she was just winding up the taxi driver. He didn't want to go that far out of town. She was going, I ordered this taxi.
Oh.
So I just went up to her and I just said, look, shut your face.
Yeah.
And I just sort of like started kicking her legs out. I think her name was Edwina. Well, anyway, I won't go in the details of exactly what I did, but let's just say that I won that particular skirmish.
Oh, she sounds like a snooty old cow.
I know, unbelievable.
Oh, Edwina. That reminds me, I best call my better half. Give me a sec.
Oh, yeah, she's called Edwina as well, isn't she?
Yeah, she's called Edwina as well. Yeah, she probably coming out of a bingo hall about this hour, actually. I might just catch her before she gets home.
She doesn't usually get a taxi home, does she?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a long old walk to hers, and I can't be driving her everywhere.
So she does usually get a taxi.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So I'll just catch her before she gets a lift. It's just ringing. Hello, my Oh, Sharon. Hey, you right? How's it going? Sharon's her daughter.
Right, okay.
No, I was just hoping to speak to Edwina. What do you mean she's in the hospital? Attacked? What? When did that happen? After her bingo? What, some lunatic just went up and started beating her up outside of the bingo hall? Hang on a minute, Sharon. This bingo hall, it wasn't the one off Stevenson Street by any chance, was it?
I'll be honest, I was half cut at the time. I'm not sure I remember exactly where it was. Why? Why'd you ask?
I mean, this is a crazy notion, but I think my Edwina and your Edwina might be the same Edwina. I think you beat up my girlfriend and put her in the hospital.
Well, that doesn't sound like me, does it? I mean, it's usually you that does away with your wives. You haven't even married this one yet.
Do away with?
Oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that.
How dare you throw these accusations... Oh, wait, hold on, that reminds me. Sharon, how is she looking? Not good. Sharon, her will, Edwina's will, do you know where that would be? Oh, right, she's made recent amendments to it. Okay. Now, okay, I'll help any way I can. Just send me the will. Send it to me just so I can read it, just to make sure, be on the safe side. I'll come visit her in hospital at some point. But just be sure to send me that. You know where I live, don't you? Okay. Yeah, no, we'll get to the bottom of this. Okay. No, all the best, Sharon. Give her my love. Bye.
That's sweet. Do you get on well with Sharon?
Yeah. Well, as good as you could get on with your girlfriend's daughter, who's 30 years older than you.
Fair enough.
You've really done a number on her, apparently.
Listen, mate, if you'd have seen the way she was acting, you would have... And actually, once I've trained you, you'll have the tools to sort out people like that.
No, I mean, fair play to you. If
You're only just getting to know her. You don't know her like I do. I mean, as a fighter, you look into your combatant's eyes, you see a side of them that no one else ever can.
No, I mean, fair play. If she was acting up, then I guess she had it coming. I mean, I hope that you can teach me to kind of do the things that you do someday.
Absolutely. Well, as my first pupil, I think I might make you my protege.
I am honoured.
I am honoured, Sensei.
Oh, I am honoured, Sensei.
Thank you very much.
So there we have it, the life and times of Bruce Lee. I've certainly learnt a lot, not just of the man himself, but a few kung fu moves.
Yeah, just during that last musical break, I kind of demonstrated a couple of moves on you, chokehold and things like that. So just to give you a bit of background on the man and the art form that he practiced.
Absolutely. It's the gift that keeps on giving, this podcast. And hopefully, listener, it's a gift that keeps on giving to you. If you're enjoying the podcast, then do let us know. You can reach us in a number of different ways. You can get us on Twitter at Mailbox Rogues. We have an email account, mailboxroguesgallery@gmail.com.
You can catch us on Facebook. You can listen to us on YouTube and Podbean and iTunes. And most importantly, if you do listen to us and you do enjoy it, please leave a rating and a review on iTunes, because that really helps.
Most importantly, a review.
I've got a dojo to run. I need all the support I can get morally, so those reviews really help.
Yep, definitely. So we would love to hear from you. Maybe we can answer some questions.
Maybe we can't.
Maybe we can't. We're only men at the end of the day.
We're media men, but we're only men.
We're media men who spend a lot of our time now in a dojo.
Right, with that in mind, I just want to demonstrate this one last chokehold on you. So if you just hang on, I'm just going to do it. Right. Okay, say goodbye, Burch.
Goodbye, Burch.
Toodles.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But they fought with expert timing.